Productions. If you didn't know, this group is called Slow Clap Productions, featured after a couple incidents that happened in American war film. So, we're going to take a stroll down memory lane and look at why America's so great, and hopefully we can be like Donald Trump and make America great again. Back-to-back World War champs, baby. Alright, I'm going to cover the top 10 war films made today, starting with, let's see what we got here. Paths of Glory. If you don't remember, we watched this movie in Dr. Mater's class. It was about a bunch of French officers who were focused about their glory and moving up and all this other kinds of crazy stuff with the sacrifice of their men. But the acting by Kirk Douglas was just amazing. Like, you can't even imagine how good it was. Especially in the court scene when he's trying to protect the life of 3 of his soldiers because he's the only general not worried about glory. Unfortunately, he fails. And the 3 soldiers are put to death, but you do see some exciting battles. I will say it was probably one of the best movies we've seen in class. Coming in at number 9 is The Lost Battalion, which we also did watch in class. We favor this movie just because the acting and the special effects, the battle scenes in the Argonne Forest were just absolutely amazing. The sounds of the gunshots, the booms, the emotions that we saw through the soldiers' faces were just absolutely incredible. Okay, coming in at number 8 is Unbroken. I've heard a couple people in the class talk about this, and Gary, my partner over here, decided to watch it and tell me it was one of the best movies he's ever seen. It really focuses on the storyline and the character development of Mr. Louis Zambrini. He was... Pause. Okay, so Mr. Lewis pretty much went through every obstacle that you could. He was a POW, he had a lot going against him, and it showed how important America was to our soldiers. He never sold out the country, even though it would have made his life a lot easier. Really focused on the patriotism, and I like how it focused on like being a POW over actual war scenes, so that was why it was in our top 10. Coming in at number 7 is a fan favorite, The Patriot, starring Mel Gibson. I hope everyone in the class has seen that. Any American thinks that that movie is just one of the greatest. If you tune to your television on 4th of July, it literally runs non-stop. But as I hit on, Mel Gibson is one of the best actors we will ever get to see in our lifetime. And it focuses on a lot of the battles and his triumph to save the Revolutionary War. And probably one of the coolest things you'll ever see in movies is he's melting little toy soldiers to kill British soldiers. I don't think I've seen anything like that in any other war movie. So that sticks out. The fact that he's fighting for his kids, both of his sons die, and he's fighting for them, it's pretty awesome. It has an emotional appeal while showing the battle scenes. Are you guys ready for number 6? You Can't Handle the Truth. If you don't know what that is, it's A Few Good Men starring Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. The acting in this movie is absolutely incredible, as I've hit on in the last few movies, but it just stands out in this one. The courtroom scene from the quote that I just said was absolutely unbeatable. I mean, you see it on television nonstop. It really focuses on what goes on a base and more of a storyline, the law that the military has to follow rather than the battle, which is pretty interesting. It's a different look at a war movie. If you look on the list of pretty much anybody's top 10 of the modern films, this will be on there. Alright, so number 5 is Black Hawk Down. It focuses on a chopper that got shot down in Somalia, and American troops have to come in and save a couple of our soldiers that are being shot at by the whole entire village. The whole entire movie kind of focuses on the difference of training between the American soldiers versus like a third world country, on how 4 of our soldiers can pretty much wipe out a village. It also really shows the view of America from other countries on how much they really despise us. I mean, you see 2 dead Americans get carried out and paraded around the village while they're sitting there cheering, and it makes Americans at home feel pretty emotional. I think that's what most people really like about this movie, is it shows the great training, it shows the action scenes, and it also kind of hits you and makes you realize what our soldiers go through on a daily basis over there. Alright, so coming in at number 4 is Full Metal Jacket. It focuses on the Vietnam War. It's pretty good if you have a dark sense of humor like Gary and myself. You can laugh at how the sergeant yells at a couple of the characters, especially the main character, Lawrence. Really focuses on the training aspect side of the war, on how we kind of break soldiers down and then build them up on who we want them to be so they can come into killers and stuff like that overseas to where they aren't totally on their conscious. It also focuses on the psychological effect of Vietnam. Everyone knows Vietnam is kind of the war we don't talk about. It affects everyone. Soldiers were treated bad. We didn't really do what we wanted to do over there. Kind of just hits on all that stuff. The action scenes are pretty good. Other than that, let's move on to the next one. Alright, coming in number 3, Lone Survivor. Probably one of the best movies I've ever seen in my whole entire life, even not talking about war movies. Anything with Marky Mark, good old Mark Wahlberg is great. Everyone knows that. Focuses on 4 soldiers that are supposed to operate a mission overseas, and everything goes south. Telecommunication, if I could talk, gets cut off. They can't talk to their commander. They get stuck over there. Really hits on the emotional sides of things because 3 terrorists come up and find them, and they're debating on whether or not they should kill them or not. They decide not to because they're afraid of what the news is going to do to them if they do. They let them free, and next thing you know, the whole entire village is after them. Just like Black Hawk Down, it focuses on the special training of the American forces versus what they were fighting over there. It shows how much we're hated. The action scenes are unbelievable. The special effects are great. I know for a fact they did talk to the real lone survivor, and he helped recreate the scenes and make sure everything was great. So it was very realistic, very emotional for most viewers. So if you get a chance, go see it. All right, coming in at number 2, probably everyone's favorite movie in this class, Saving Private Ryan. Tom Hanks is just a boss. Everyone knows that. Really focuses on the special effects. We can talk about the sign where the bullet goes through the scope on the sniper. Unfortunately, Mythbusters proved that there's no way that's possible, but it's still pretty awesome in the movie. It's the highlight of the thing. As we read in the article that Dr. Mader gave us, it really focuses on the triumph of Americans. It shows that we're not willing to give up. They tried to save Private Ryan because his 4 brothers died and he's supposed to leave, but he decides that he's going to fight anyways and put it all out for his country. I think it does a really good job showing how Americans feel about the country and how we'll die for it and what our soldiers do for us. Alright, last but not least, my favorite movie of all time. I hope you guys enjoy it too. American Sniper. Bradley Cooper is just amazing in this movie. He literally put on 30, 40 pounds to be Chris Kyle. He changed the way he looked, changed the way he talked, changed the way he dressed. He literally played into the role perfect. He fits the role awesome. All of the actors in the movie literally fit their roles. Like, I couldn't have picked a better person for it. His wife, his squad, the Navy SEALs, the trainers, everything about it. Just like all the other modern movies, really focuses on how life is overseas for our soldiers and what they go through on a daily basis and how they combat that back at home. I really focus on how it's a biography of his life. He was alive for most of the movie. The funeral was actually added into it, so he did have some say of what was shown and what wasn't. One thing I'll never forget, though, is the special effects of this movie. It's unbelievable. The editing, the explosions, the scenes, the scene where he gets the kill of a lifetime from over a mile sniper shot. I'll never forget it. No one will ever forget that scene. Okay, to conclude, I hope you like our top 10. We had a bunch of fun watching all these movies, constantly arguing which ones deserve to be in the top 10 and where they fit on our scale. Just to give a brief explanation, I think a lot of our scale was modern movies, and I think a lot of you guys can relate to that. It's easier to see because we live through it. We hear about it on the news. As movies are made later, the special effects are better, it's more realistic, so I think that's why most of the new movies are in our top 10. And I just want to ask you guys, let's make America great again.